All the way back in 2017, Michael Giacchino released a score for War of the Planet of the Apes. And there was one song in particular in this album that I really enjoyed called Exodus Wounds. It was kind of this sad piano theme for the main protagonist, Caesar, and I really liked that theme. That was really great, and I'm a sucker for sad piano themes, so I really enjoyed it. And of course, later on, Disney would later buy Fox and get the rights for the Planet of the Apes films, and they started developing a new one called Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. So when this score released, I checked it out, and I'm a little disappointed that they didn't hire back Michael Giacchino to do Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes after he did War of the Planet of the Apes, because I feel like Michael Giacchino would make a really great score for this film. I would love to hear more of his sad piano themes, because he's really good at doing those. So again, I am a little disappointed that Michael Giacchino did not do the score for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, but I'm actually pretty happy that another artist named John Pensio did the score for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, because I really like his work, especially his film scores for the Spider-Man games. I feel like he had a really great sad piano theme in the first Spider-Man game, and he actually had a really great villain theme for Kraven the Hunter in the Spider-Man 2 game soundtrack. So yeah, overall, I am a pretty decent fan of John Pensio. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. So I was honestly quite excited to listen to his soundtrack for the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. But I have to admit, I was a little disappointed in what we got. Before we continue though, I just want to say that I'm going to be reviewing this soundtrack not really based off of how it works with the film and the characters and yada yada, but mainly just how enjoyable is it for me to listen to with my headphones on. And so, yeah, that's going to be my criteria for judging this film. And again, as a whole, I found the film soundtrack to be slightly disappointing. Mainly because a lot of the songs in the soundtrack I felt were very standard. The soundtrack did have some really great songs in there, though, and I'm going to go ahead and mention those. And that was Noah's Purpose and What a Wonderful Day. Those are kind of the highlights of the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes soundtrack. The first song that I mentioned, Noah's Purpose, has a really great sad piano theme in there. Again, as I said before, I'm a sucker for those things. My biggest complaint with that song, though, is that they only played that sad piano theme once in the entire song. It was a really great sad piano theme, and they only played it once, which I felt was a little disappointing. If they expanded upon the sad piano theme that they showed in there, I would have liked this album a whole lot better. Definitely be ranked a lot higher if they expanded on the sad piano theme that I heard just once in Noah's Purpose. Because it's a really great sad piano theme. And again, I just wish they expanded upon that. Because the rest of the song, other than that one piano part, is just very standard. I don't really care for the rest of the song. It's okay, but that sad piano theme, I love that part. Anyways, aside from that, the other really great song in Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is Proximus Caesar's theme. It's basically the villain theme for the movie. And that is What a Wonderful Day. Love some of the instruments they used in there, particularly this, I don't really know what kind of horn it is or whatever it is. Had a really great instrument used in that song. I don't really know what it was. And it was a very threatening, great villain theme, I feel like, because it was very threatening, very conquer the world's evil bad guy theme, and I liked it a lot. That was a great villain theme. And so, yeah, What a Wonderful Day and Noah's Purpose are some of the best songs in the soundtrack. The soundtrack definitely has its bright spots, for sure. It's really, those songs I mentioned are pretty good songs. But as far as the rest of the soundtrack goes, I do not have as much positive things to say about it. I understand not every song's going to be good, especially in a 29-song soundtrack. There's 29 songs in the entire album. And so, of course, not every song's going to be great. And usually in a movie soundtrack, there's only going to be 1, 2, or 3 highlights. I get that. But the rest of the soundtrack is just not that great. On the better end of some of these other songs is Discovery and We Will Rebuild. I thought those were decent songs in the Kingdom of Planet of the Apes soundtrack. But as far as the rest of the soundtrack goes, it's very standard, very much, I feel like I've heard these songs before in another movie. Particularly in the action songs. A lot of the action songs are just very, again, standard. I feel like I've heard them before, very loud. And I just didn't really care for those. Again, those two songs I mentioned, really great songs. And the rest, I just feel like it's very standard. I understand, again, not every song's going to be great. And some of the times you just need filler music for a movie. And honestly, the rest of these songs work well with the film. It's just they're not that enjoyable to listen to. So as a whole, I would give this soundtrack probably a 7 out of 10. The two highlights that I do like, I feel like were pretty good songs. But Noah's Purpose, if they only expanded and made an entire song about this kind of sad piano theme that you hear once in the song, I would probably give this soundtrack an 8 or possibly higher than that out of 10. But because they only play that sad piano theme once, I will have to give it a 7 out of 10. Because, again, in every soundtrack, you're going to have your highlights and you're going to have your, kind of filler music, of course. But I feel like the filler music that they do have is just very not that great. I understand, again, it's filler music, but I don't know, I just didn't really like it. And then the two highlights that we had, I feel like could have been better. Again, Proxima Caesar's theme's really good. I wouldn't really change anything about that. But that sad piano theme that was so great, that was featured once in Noah's Purpose, I feel like could have expanded upon it and really improved the soundtrack. But as a whole, that's pretty much my thoughts on the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes soundtrack. Tell me what you think about it in the comment section below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? On Apple Music, actually, the most popular songs from the soundtrack are Discovery and We Will Rebuild, which I thought was kind of on the mediocre side on the soundtrack. So again, this is just my opinion, and so I would like to hear your thoughts on it in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this and you want to see more film score reviews for different movies, then consider subscribing if you want to. Anyways, that's the end of this review, and I hope you enjoyed.